Ever think about how much water it takes to make just one cotton t-shirt?
Probably not something that comes up every day.
Right. But get this, it takes over 2,700 liters, like enough for one person to drink for 3 years. Crazy, huh?
It really puts things into perspective.
That's what got us so interested in this YouStart program we're looking at today.
Yeah, the way they're using AI to make fashion more sustainable is pretty fascinating.
Exactly. So we've got some excerpts here, academic stuff about how YouStart is using AI for teaching sustainable design and also to help students get their work seen globally. So like AI, fashion, and going green all mixed together. Where do we even start with all that?
Well, I think it helps to start with the problem, the sheer scale of the issue we're facing. Like, did you know the fashion industry uses something like 93 billion cubic meters of water every year?
93 billion. Okay, yeah, that's a lot. So how is this YouStart program tackling that? What are they actually doing?
Well, they're working on a couple of things. First, they're trying to minimize the environmental impact of the design process itself. And second, they're helping students reach a much wider audience so those eco-friendly designs can, really make a difference.
Okay, I'm following you. But how do they actually put that into practice?
Well, think about fashion shows, right?
Yeah.
Tons of resources go into making those clothes, and a lot of them might only be worn once. So YouStart is using AI to create virtual fashion shows. The students design clothes, but instead of physically making them, they're creating 3D models using AI.
So, they're basically making digital clothes. That's pretty wild.
It is, and it's way more sustainable. It's kind of like designing clothes for a video game. You can experiment with all sorts of crazy ideas without actually having to use up materials.
That makes sense. And I guess it also opens up the field to more people. A student could be anywhere in the world and still participate, without needing all the resources for a traditional fashion show.
Exactly. It levels the playing field.
And it's more sustainable double win.
Okay, so we've talked about the virtual fashion shows, but what about the marketing part? You mentioned AI being used for that too, right? How does that work?
Right. So YouStart is also incorporating AI-driven SEO training, search engine optimization. It's helping students learn how to market their designs online effectively.
Oh, sure.
And it's not just about getting more views. It's about finding the right audience for their work. Even if a student's designs are super unique or avant-garde, the AI can help them connect with people all over the world who would be into that style.
So a student in, I don't know, say India, with a really unique kind of out-there design could end up finding an audience in London or New York or wherever, thanks to AI.
Precisely. It's about breaking down those geographical barriers.
I love that. So we've talked a lot about sustainability, but does YouSide focus on anything else besides just, being eco-friendly?
That's a good question. Sustainability is definitely a core focus. But they also recognize that students need other skills to make it in the fashion world, practical stuff.
Right. So by incorporating AI into their curriculum, YouStart is giving students these really valuable technical skills that are becoming super important in the fashion industry.
So it's not just about making eco-friendly clothes, it's about giving students the tools to have a real career in fashion.
Exactly.
That's great. So who's behind all this? Who came up with this YouStart program?
Well, the team is pretty incredible, actually. It's a collaboration between one of the recent winners of the ID International Emerging Designer Awards.
Oh, wow.
And a top AI tech consultant.
That's a pretty powerful combination. You've got the creative vision of a winning designer and the technical know-how of an AI expert. They really seem to get both sides of the equation, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's that blend of expertise that makes this program so unique. They're not just, talking about the future of fashion. They're out there actively building it.
And from what we've seen so far, it's a pretty exciting future. So we've talked about how YouStart is using AI in a bunch of cool ways, but I'm kind of curious about the actual technology itself. What kind of AI are we talking about here?
Well, one of the main things they use is something called generative AI. The same kind of AI that's behind, those art programs that make images based on what you type in.
Oh, yeah. Those are crazy. How does that work with fashion design, though?
It's pretty amazing, actually. So students can put in all these details about the garment they want to create, the style, what fabric they're thinking of, even who they're designing it for.
Oh, interesting.
And then the AI takes all that info and comes up with a bunch of different design options.
So it's like having a brainstorming partner who can instantly draw out your ideas for you?
Exactly. It's really cool. It helps students see a lot more possibilities than they probably would have on their own. And it saves a ton of time.
I bet it helps them try new things too, like styles and fabrics they might not have thought of otherwise.
Definitely. It's easy to get stuck in a creative rut,
Yeah.
But AI can help push you to experiment and get outside your comfort zone.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the generative AI helping with the design process, but what about the marketing stuff? We talked about AI-powered marketing before. How does that actually work?
It's a lot more than just like picking the right keywords. The AI can actually look at fashion trends all over the world and like figure out which designs are likely to be popular with certain groups of people.
Oh, wow. So it can help target the right audience.
Yeah, it's pretty credible. It's like giving emerging designers a secret weapon to compete in the global market.
That's amazing. It's making me wonder, though, with all this talk about AI and what it can do, what does it mean for, like, traditional fashion education? Is there still a place for, human teachers and actually making clothes with your hands?
Oh, absolutely. I think AI is more of a tool to enhance fashion education, not replace it. That human touch will always be important. The creativity, the craftsmanship, understanding how different fabrics work, you can't really replace that with AI.
That's good to hear. I was starting to worry that fashion schools would just become, like, computer labs.
Not at all. US Start is all about using AI to complement those traditional skills. It's giving students the knowledge and tools to be successful in a world where technology is a huge part of fashion.
Right. You need both, it sounds like. You need the creative vision and the technical know-how.
Exactly. And what I think is really cool about UStart is that they're not just focusing on the technology itself, they're teaching students how to use it ethically and responsibly too.
Oh, that's really important, especially with something as powerful as AI.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another really interesting part of this program. We've talked a lot about the technical side, but I think it's just as important to think about the human side of this, like AI fashion revolution.
Right. We're talking about real people using this technology.
Exactly. So how are the students reacting to this whole thing? Are they excited about it? Do they have concerns?
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what they have to say.
Well, that's a great question, and it's actually a perfect lead-in to the next part of our deep dive. We've got some firsthand accounts from the students themselves, and their insights are really fascinating.
Oh, wow. All right, listeners. Looks like we're about to get a glimpse into the minds of the designers who are shaping the future of sustainable fashion. Stay tuned. Okay, so we've heard all about the technology behind UStart and how it works. But what about the students? What do they think about learning fashion design in this whole new AI-powered world?
Well, from what we've seen in the research, the feedback from students has been overwhelmingly positive.
Really?
Yeah, they're using words like empowering, eye-opening, even game-changing to describe their experience with UStart.
That's so cool. But do we have any specific examples of how it's actually impacted their work?
Definitely. There's one example that comes to mind. A student was talking about how the AI design tool helped her get out of a creative rut. She said she was kind of stuck in a certain style, but the AI came up with all these options she never would have considered. It really pushed her to try new things.
That's amazing. It's like the AI became her design partner, not just a tool,
Exactly. What about the AI marketing training? Have students had any success with that?
Yeah. Has that helped them find an audience?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's this story about a student from a small town who always wanted to get his designs seen internationally. And thanks to the SEO training he got through UStart, he ended up connecting with a boutique in Tokyo. They loved his stuff and ended up buying his entire collection.
Wow, that's incredible. It really shows how UStart is creating real opportunities for students. It's not just theory, it's actually helping them achieve their goals.
It is. It really is. And it's not just about the technical skills, Students are saying they feel more confident in their abilities now, and they have a better understanding of the global fashion industry as a whole.
It sounds like UStart is helping to create a new generation of designers who are not just skilled, but also really aware of the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's about more than just training designers. It's about shaping the future of the fashion industry itself.
It's like they're laying the groundwork for a future that's more sustainable, more inclusive, and more technologically advanced, all at the same time.
It really is a remarkable vision, and it's already having a big impact.
How so?
We're seeing similar programs popping up all over the world, all inspired by what UStart has accomplished.
That's amazing. It just goes to show that a good idea can really make a difference, it can spark a movement and lead to positive change.
It's inspiring to see how technology can be used for good, to create a better world when it's in the right hands.
I totally agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what can our listeners take away from all this? What's the message here?
Well, I think it's a good reminder that We all have a part to play in creating a more sustainable future. Even small choices can have a big impact. As consumers, we can choose to support brands that prioritize, ethical and eco-conscious practices.
Exactly. And maybe You Start's story will inspire someone listening. Who knows what other fields could benefit from this kind of approach, from thinking about how to use AI in new and creative ways? What other problems can we solve?
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities.
It really is. So to everyone listening, stay curious, keep exploring, and never be afraid to ask questions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all for this deep dive, everyone. Thanks for listening.